You have such a beautiful voice. How do you describe the music that you make?
Thank you, Jamie. You know, I have been doing this for a long time. And I think more than being able to talk about like the genre of my music, the through line really has been the sound of me. And, I think as you grow as a person and you evolve as a person, and certainly as like an artist, although that term can mean so many things.
Mhm.
The idea is to get as close as you possibly can to being as honest as you possibly can in in the through the music. And I think when I was younger, I thought about sounding like something or like someone else or reaching for things that were not necessarily natural for me. And I think the most wonderful feeling I have now is that the way that I sing and the sound of me is absolutely true to who I am, and it feels comfortable, and I love hearing that because it just means that we're friends already. I don't have to try any harder. And I think in the life we all try so hard to fit in, to figure stuff out, to belong, and the answer always is to kind of be yourself, right?
Ab-
So, I think the way I would describe my music is just to say that I strive to be as honest and as real and as authentically me as possible. And I think genre-wise, I'm kind of a hybrid because I do have a lot of country influences, considering that you know, have been going to Nashville for over 20 years and writing in Nashville. And but I also am a native New Yorker, so I think that those kind of elements and the inspiration in my life has come from being able to kind of walk in more than one world and finding out that humanity is pretty much one thing across the board. We all have hearts, we all have souls, and it just there's a to me, music is a common tongue, and it's an opportunity to speak kind of across genres and across boundaries and that sort of thing.
Well said, well said. Oh my goodness. Who are some of the artists that influenced you when you were growing up?
When I was growing up, I've been around a while, so I've got, deep, deep influences and roots that kind of go back that I'm sure a lot of young people might not even recognize. But I think I was definitely fortunate to be around when, there were very, very influential groups, all the people that played Woodstock, all the people that, I kind of have sort of hippie-ish roots. And yeah, I think like, but it's always a hard question for me because I love so many things. And every day I find something new to love. But I would say Dolly Parton, the Eagles, Tom Petty, so there were country influences, Willie, Waylon, all the Outlaws, and also kind of, big rock and pop music. And it kind of all rolled itself together. Tina Turner, I kind of think as women, Dolly was so pure and in such an amazing way, and Tina was so raw. And I like to kind of combine purity with something raw. And I think that when I'm expressing myself, I like for both of those elements to be present.
Everything But Money is such a great single. Where did the inspiration for this come from?
Well, I think it came from knowing how badly we suffer as a society and as a people from wanting more than what we have. It's so easy to look outside yourself and think, and we're all this flash and, this kind of very immodest society that we have where we brag about what we physically, materially have is it's just misdirected focus to me. Like attention should not be on attaining too much outside of what you naturally possess and what the people and around you can give you. What you can give people and what people can give you is so much more important than how many cars you have in your garage. So I guess I really wanted to emphasize that we are rich in spirit, we are rich in love. Those things really fill us up and make us feel um like we belong. And I think human beings really crave belonging, and that's not something money can buy. So I feel like if you're lucky enough to have people who care about you, and people that you care about, you got it. You almost got it all. I mean, we have to pay our rent and we have to take care of ourselves, and there are requirements to survival. But if your needs are met, I feel like there is a kind of peace that comes from knowing that you're okay. You've got what you need. And I guess I really wanted to emphasize that we've got everything we need to have a good time, to feel enjoy, to celebrate, and it really doesn't take much. You can go out into a field, you can walk down the street, you can sit in a cafe and just make it simple. And I do think the simple things, it's funny, but the simple things are the things that really do make us feel the best. Yeah. So that's where the inspiration came.
What kind of fan response have you been receiving to the single so far?
I feel like people really dig the song, because it does hit a very common nerve. We all feel this way. And I think even, yeah, I think across the board, it has the potential to be understood by almost everybody. So far, it's been amazing. And I'm really enjoying sharing a song that, kind of that people connect to.
Absolutely. What is your songwriting process? Do you need to have lyrics before you can craft music? Maybe the other way around. Maybe it's different every time.
I am definitely a lyric-driven person, so I usually start with an idea that is burning, that must be spoken. Uh, either it's because, it can be inspired frequently. I have to be honest and say heartbreak is amazing fodder for songwriting. I mean, hurt and heartbreak definitely the way that I process my emotions. Is through song. So, if something is upsetting me, bothering me, something that I can't resolve, or very frequently, because songwriting is kind of like a long conversation with God, basically. It's like, can you hear me? Can you hear that I'm going through something? Or can you hear that we need this or we need that? So I tend to write either from very personal place, like a deeply personal, a place where I don't really let people into that place, but my songs let everybody in. So it's ironic because in so many ways I'm a deeply private person and I don't really like to advertise when I'm upset or things are going wrong. But in my songwriting, I totally bear it all. So I guess I still have the need to be seen or heard, in those deepest places, but I don't frequently do it, just on a casually. I don't do it casually. I do it, it's very deep for me and very important. And then I also tend to write from this kind of place of compassion for the world. I think I'm triggered by or inspired by human suffering and also human connection. Those things really turn me on, and kind of, well, suffering doesn't turn me on, but it inspires my creativity because we want to fix it, we want to make it better. So I think most of my songwriting is about making things better, whether it's on a personal level or on a global level. I'm always thinking of how to better myself, better a situation, better the circumstances. So I think I'm driven a lot by wanting more love in the world. So I guess this is how I do it. We all have our way, and this is my way.
How much of a hand then do you have when it comes to the production side of the music that you make?
Well, I'm so happy to say that this last record, Firebird, which is coming out in December. Um, I worked with someone I had worked with before, Stephen Lywicki, and he's absolutely wonderful and in Nashville producer. He's like a many faceted human, kind of he just has so many abilities. So he's a great musician, a great producer, a great engineer, a great mixer. He really can sort of do it all. But we had great musicians on this record, and we really worked side by side. I mean, I what I loved about working with him was that the music never got away from me. It still felt
Oh,
like it did when I walked in the door and banged it out on my guitar and showed him the heart of the song. Because I think that when it comes to production, you can get carried away because you want more of this, more sauce on your, on your
cool.
spaghetti. Like keep pouring it on. And then before you know it, the heart of the song is buried in something that takes away from its truth or its meaning and its authenticity. So I have loved working with Stephen because he does not do that. He takes it and just kind of infuses it with more love, more power, and it makes it feel like it feels to me, like it feels inside because I'm not a multi-instrumentalist and I can't sit down and play the drums and play the bass and kind of blow it up big and have that vision come to life without a village. And I'm so grateful and blessed to be able to work with the people that I've been working with. They're just outstanding people and
This is a
musicians.
wonderful prelude to your upcoming album, Firebird, here coming December 5th. What are some themes you'll be exploring on it?
Well, I feel like it's a full spectrum record thematically, where I go from the extremely personal uh to the, like I said, kind of global desire to fix everything and to heal the world. So it is definitely full spectrum. It's not a one note thing. From song to song, I think I cover a lot of territory. One of the frustrating things about being a songwriter is that no one song says it all for me. I always feel like, oh, well, this song shows this facet of me, but what about this facet and that one and this one and that one? And you can never really get it all into one song. But I do feel like it's a really good cross section of um, material, and that I speak I speak on a lot of things. I speak about a lot of stuff that's important to me, and that hopefully will be important to other people too.
Well, I'm curious, is there a song or songs on Firebird that are particular favorites to you? I love Everybody's Happy. I love Heartbreak River.
I'm so glad you love those two songs, and they are meaningful to me. Like we were saying, everybody's happy is really like my desire to just sort of light the world on hap up with happiness and joy, because I feel like even though we're struggling, everyone seems to have this indwelling capacity for joy. You just have to find it, and it can be buried deep. So I guess that's my way of sort of bringing it out. And Heartbreak River is kind of a redemption song in that I believe, the river is something that's always moving. And as long as we keep moving and we don't get stuck and mired in the pain of heartbreak, there's a chance that there's a light at the end of the tunnel or a light at the end of the river. And you got to keep going. Is so hopefully that comes across because it is kind of a sad song, but there's a depth to it that I hope has the underpinnings of hope. Um, and I think one of the songs that's very important to me right now is Your Storm, because I recently lost my mom, and I do feel that it's a universal thing. We all suffer loss, and there is something about standing in the storm with somebody and making that commitment and being willing to stay even when you don't want to, and even when it's hard. And so that song really is an important song to me, and in some ways sort of at the heart of what I'm experiencing and what I've been experiencing the last 5 years as a caregiver. So, I think I'm not alone. I know that this is just a common experience. I hope that people who are struggling and going through something like that will get some inspiration from that song in particular.
It's so touching, and I'm so sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
Is it something you're going to find difficult in playing live when it
You know
comes to?
what? There is something that happens when it's it's sort of like being transported. Um, when you have the gift of singing or playing in front of other people, it's almost like an out of body experience. So, there's this balance between the the tears that I know will come, and then also this really deep desire to just give it. I just want to give it, and if you feel overwhelmed by emotion, which I definitely do, I'm a very, very emotional person, and I'm frequently overwhelmed by emotion. It's not like unusual. I think people who know me best expect that from me. They're like, oh, there she goes. She's feeling again, but
Mm.
it's really not something that's optional for me. I'm a deep feeler, and now I'm a grown-up deep feeler. When I was a kid, it was all over the place. Now I've learned to kind of harness the power of emotion. And that's one of the reasons why songwriting for me is like my favorite place to be, because there's room for all of your emotions in songwriting. So in answer to your question, will I be able to control myself? I don't honestly know. I feel like it does make me cry, but I don't think that's a bad thing. I think, if you lose someone, tears are appropriate. And, for my tears are your tears are my tears. That's what the song says. The song basically says we share in the experience. And what feels better than to have somebody, put their arms around you and say, I know how you feel.
Right.
So it just gives me a chance to feel along with everybody else. And I like that.
Mm. That comes out here December 5th. How are you going to celebrate?
That's a good question. I've been, kind of dealing with loss. It's very, very recent. And I think the idea, since December is coming up, is to really probably have a record release in Nashville, which is my musical home and where I am so, so very happy. And I have such incredible friends. And so I think we'll do a release there and take it from there. I don't know exactly what my schedule is going to be like, but I'm very excited to make it happen.
Who are some artists that you would love to collaborate with on music in the future?
Oh my gosh. That's such a big question.
Hmm.
Um, I I have so many songwriter friends that I truly respect and admire, and people who I feel like are out of reach for me. I'm not very good at reeling off names. I feel like that's just not a strength of mine. But suffice to say that for me, songwriting is almost like a religion, and I have so much admiration for so many songwriters. So in my prayers, I see myself writing with all kinds of people who are, writing great music and sharing it with the world. So I hope I get the chance to work with a lot of cool people in the future.
Well, your songs have been covered by some incredible artists. What does that mean to you that you've had the opportunity to put words to their voice?
It it means the world, really. I think as a songwriter, you dream of writing a song that the whole world will sing. That
Sure.
like that's our secret wish, or maybe not so secret. And so when you have the opportunity to work with an artist that has a reach that far exceeds mine, it's just incredible. And I'm so grateful for the fact that it's like planting a seed and then watching it grow in great proportion. And it's been wonderful to have that opportunity.
What would you like to say to everyone who are fans and supporters of the beautiful music you continue to make?
I would like to say thank you for sticking with me, for staying on this ride. It is it hasn't just begun, but it's definitely not over. And I have a lot more to sing, a lot more to say, a lot more love to give. And I'm just deeply, deeply grateful for everybody who listens, who shares, who cares about not just my music, but music in general, because I feel like it is, a balm to our wounded hearts. And, it really does work. It's incredible medicine. And, to be even the smallest part of being able to heal other people through music, that's my dream come true.
Mm.
So, yeah, I'm very, very grateful.